Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I've been dealing with some weird little skin issues about ever since we returned from our trip. For a hot minute there, I thought I was getting really oily, but I actually got very dry in some specific areas, and it seemed like I was getting eczema all over again. I hadn't dealt with that for years. I mean, you might remember it back when we were in the other house, like on my channel, and I was talking about having some eczema around the eye area, and it felt like the very same thing, only, I don't know, not quite as irritated with the skin, but just really dry. I had kind of a dry patch right up in here, and then got incredibly dry right here. In fact, this area right here looks even darker on this side than it is on this side, and part of that, I think, is because it's just still a little dry, and I feel like I've kind of nearly nursed it back to normal, but I've been doing some makeup for several days here that has definitely not irritated it any further, but has really moisturized it quite a bit and kept it in a moisturized state all throughout the day. After doing some normal-ish makeup with it for a couple of days and realizing this is going to need some targeted attention, it has started to come around. I don't know if this is an environmental thing, like a weather thing, just a random skin change. I've since washed all my brushes really well. I've thought about different products I've used and if there's been anything different. I'm really lucky. My skin lets me get by with a lot. Like, I try so many different products, and I would never really classify my skin as sensitive or something that gives me any sort of problem, but I just had a really severely dry and kind of flaky patch right in here. And right now, to the touch, it still feels drier right here than, say, this side does, but it at least feels so much smoother. I feel like I'm on the way out of this issue, but I thought, hi, kitten. I just thought I might want to share some of the tips and tricks and different products that have really helped me and have made my skin not feel nearly so dry. And also, I feel like when your skin is super dry or flaky in a certain area, it becomes sensitive. And these things have not irritated at all, but they've kept me in a hydrated, moisturized state throughout an entire day. And it's very minimal, you guys. With this being around my eye, like, my eye makeup is going to be super minimal. The face makeup, I mean, we went from full coverage and now we're going to like light but hydrating. So I have this Vaseline stick, which is just kind of handy to have. I keep it up here. I have a regular tub of Vaseline downstairs, but I go in with a little bit of this just directly on the area that has been dry. I'm not sure if that's really what I'm supposed to be doing, but it has helped. It really has. And even before bed, just really targeting that area with a little bit of Vaseline. This side, for whatever reason, not dealing with any of the same issues, so I don't know what it is, but I get a little bit of that on there, and that's kind of acting as my eye cream. I've already got my serums on and my moisturizer all over my face, by the way. And after kind of going back and forth on what to do coverage-wise for a few days, I was like, oh yeah, I've got this Tower 28 Sunny Days product in the shade 15 Melrose, and it says safe for sensitive skin, vegan and cruelty-free, won't cause breakouts, and it is accepted by the National Eczema Foundation. And this also is something I feel I've been able to put on my skin and nothing's felt even a little bit burny or like sensitive to it. It's been really good. Now, it is a light coverage product, but it gives me something. So I'm going to use that, and I've been applying it with a sponge to really keep from getting it too thick in any one spot. Not that this is really a type of product that you're really at risk of laying it down too thick with, but like, it was just, stuff was clinging to that area. And now I feel like I'm getting a little smoother application, but I feel like it's because the products have helped me. So I get that on, I apply it kind of like it's foundation. Just go all over the skin. You can see it's giving me like kind of a radiant but light coverage. And it is a little bit buildable. But when I remembered that thing about the National Eczema Foundation, I was like, oh yeah, this should be good. This should be something that'll work for me. And I'll be prepared now, if that comes back. I'll have this little routine in my hip pocket. And anybody with generally dry skin or sensitive skin, and you like kind of a lighter look day to day, I think this might work well for you. So I've got that all blended in super easy, really light, but I can build it just a little. I'll show you how I do that. Just about half as much as I first used, or maybe a third as much. And I just kind of get the center of the face area one more time and just dab it in. Again, you could probably get a little more coverage if you used a brush, but I just feel like the Beauty Blender keeps it blending in as well as it possibly can over some areas where it might want to cling just a little. But again, we're improving. So a concealer that I pulled out that has not been giving me any trouble and has in fact given a lot of extra moisture. It's probably one of the most hydrating ones that I have, and I hadn't used it a whole lot lately, but it's really serving me well in this situation. It's my Say concealer, and this was like super popular for a minute. It's their Hydra Beam concealer, and the way this is printed, HB2. I'll have to check, it's really hard to see on the bottom, but this concealer is so juicy. And guys, I mean, I went from like baking one week to not setting it at all. So I take it out and I can go right over my little zone there with this, and it ends up feeling really moisturized. And honestly, since I've been using this, everything's been getting better. You know, it's been taking a turn since I discovered this little sensitive hydrating combo of products. So really very little concealer on the skin right now. When you pull out this wand, it doesn't lead you to putting on a bunch. There are some of those doe foots that are like really jumbo and they carry a lot of product. This one carries very little product and it's like a cone shape. So if you're wanting to put on a lot of concealer, like you're gonna have to be going back into the tube for it because it's not just naturally gonna give you that. So I get around here and I'm going over the very area that has caused me some issues. And is it the best coverage? And will I still maybe see a little evidence darkness wise from what I've been dealing with here? Yeah, I might, but this allows me to still have some makeup on and feel like the area is probably going to be better hydrated throughout the day with this makeup on than it would be without it. So I've got that area covered as well as it can be. See, it's a nice concealer. It's just super juicy. And on a day-to-day basis, I would think it might be even a little more than I need. But you put that combo of things on, look at your skin and be like, oh, this face isn't having any trouble with dryness. You're juicy. And I'm not gonna set that particular area with powder. What I am gonna do is set a little bit right here on the lower lash line. So here's where I was struggling, but right in here, that's where I'm going to set, because somehow, even if you do zero eye makeup on the lower lash line, sometimes from your upper lash line, stuff can still transfer and stick if you are so juicy and hydrated. Little flecks of something, I don't know what, it's an attractor area down here when this goes unset. I decided that the lightest thing possible, and I kind of like it, I've compared it to the NARS Light Reflecting. This is the Laura Mercier Secret Blurring Powder for under eyes. And I feel like it's similar to the Light Reflecting Setting Powder. I like the texture of the Laura Mercier a little bit more. I feel like it's doing a little more and it feels a bit smoother, a little less dry. So I take a little bit of that, and I've got just a small brush. This was from Makeup Geek. It's a multi-purpose eye brush, it says. It's kind of thick and big. So I just get this stuff on the tip and I hit that lower lash line practically like I'm doing eyeshadow on the eye, okay? It's that targeted of an area. And nowhere else, just right in here, okay? And you won't feel as terribly juicy in that zone, but that's what we want right there. I'm not setting the area where I would pretty much usually set every day. And will I be in this makeup routine for the long haul? No, I don't think so. I think I'm just trying to get through a phase where something irritated my eye or my skin just randomly decided to be this way, and you adapt and get through it. And I like to keep my videos relevant to what's actually going on with me currently, so that's that. My next move here is that I'm going to put on a little bit of bronzer. This is just my Rimmel Natural Bronzer in Sun Bronze, which I've been loving these days. Use whatever bronzer. This is going on pretty much areas of the skin that have been unaffected by any of my little dry patches. So I'm just gonna go around my hairline with this, perk up the skin a little bit. I do think one of the first things, if I notice something weird going on with my skin, one of my first things I do, regardless of how recently I wash my brushes, I go ahead and wash them again. Just in case, you know, my brushes had been enclosed in my makeup bag, and maybe, you know, after using them with products that contain moisture and then zipping it all up, maybe some bacteria kind of got involved there. But back in the day, I had actually been prescribed something to put on some eczema stuff that was going on my eye, and I remember that time it was very irritated. Like, this fortunately hasn't blown into like a almost blistery looking irritated patch, but it's just incredibly dry, and you couldn't just put regular stuff on it and go on with the regular song and dance of my makeup routine and expect it to look good or feel good. This, you know, this feels so hydrated there. But anyway, got that on, and then I've been reaching for a couple different products, really hydrating cheek products. Not that it would have to be that way, but I'm just kind of rolling with it. It kind of gets up close to that area a bit. So I've either been reaching for my Tower 28 in Power Hour, which is a great lip and cheek that's kind of toasty neutral. It's an amazing kind of brick color here, and that shears out so pretty on the cheeks. So if I want that brick, almost a little bit brownish shade on lip and cheek, I'll do that. Or my Dew blush from Say in the shade Chili, which has some amazing staying power for not being really set on the skin. I'm going to use this today because I've got a lip liner that I'm really eager to use that will coordinate. A little goes a long way on this guy. You've got this big old doe foot, buck foot, and you only need a hair. Just a little bit of product here. And we're gonna blend that out with a Sephora 56. And it's just so in from the cold, or out in the cold, honestly. Like you're outside and you're cold. In from the cold, you start to thaw. Look how that one teensy bit is creating this, and it will have staying power, and it just looks healthy. Like this shade just makes the face come alive at a time when you feel like you're kind of dealing with something. Look, it's so nice. It works so well with just the texture that's all over my skin right now. Super fresh. And I just blended over that entire cheek area. I feel like I am getting up kind of close to the eye with it, so I think that's another reason why it's good to stick with something sort of moisturizing here. I'm going to use my L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. This is in the shade Dark Brunette. Yesterday, stuff was really just completely flaking away on this area and this, and so I kind of lightly just encouraged some of those flakes to come on off. I promise I wasn't like grinding into my skin or anything, but I was just like releasing some stuff that was seeming ready to go. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, Em, just don't do your makeup if you've got something like that. And I know I could just not do my makeup, but I feel like the makeup routine is helping heal it because these are nice, gentle products that have hydration and target the area. But also I like being able to do my makeup. Let's say you had skin like this that was giving you issues like I've described, and you're gonna go out for a job interview, or you have a family photo getting taken, or you just got a situation where you really would like to have makeup on. This is the way to get around it and get some makeup on, I think. That Tower 28 stuff is really good. I'd love to hear from people who have, generally speaking, like sensitive skin on a regular basis. I'd love to hear if you've tried that and what your experience has been like, because I mean, I got it on my spots and it did not cause any feeling of, woo, that's a little much. I've stayed away from like my Charlotte Tilbury eye cream. I haven't used that for a few days just because I'm not so certain about what ingredients are in it and if it might be a little too much for that zone, so I've just stuck to the Vaseline. Control Freak from NYX. Another thing I did, you guys, I touched up my under eye the other day and I mixed a little bit of this and this just to see if this could be even more like diluted and look even more natural on the skin. So that's another option. I wonder if e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer could be maybe an even better option on the under eye. I don't know. For some reason, I just thought this Say stuff would be really gentle. So the eyelids, here's what I am going to do. I just took something really light and sheer, like this illuminating palette. The textures of these powders are not even as heavy as an eyeshadow would be. Guys, I just took like this goldeny shade right here. I think I just had it out, and that's part of why I thought to use this. But I just took that all over my lid space. Like, we're not doing a true full-on eyeshadow look. I just kind of, boop, go into that. Let it kind of go all over here. If you want a little more brightness, hit the center lid with some of that, no problem. Easy. Like, basically I'm just keeping myself from maybe getting really oily in my crease by having a little something powdery there, but no big deal. Like, the eyes are not really the focus. I'm actually just gonna do mascara. This is my L'Oreal Lash Paradise. This wore pretty well on me the other day, but again, I highly recommend just a little bit of some kind of powder right up to the lash line. if you're gonna stay this dewy, because I didn't set my concealer. So I'm just curling using this, and then we have a lip and we're done. Oh, this Lash Paradise is in such a sweet spot for me. Look what that just immediately did. We've got Christmas programs this week. It's going to be a busy week, just with evening activities and whatnot. Oh, another thing, I discontinued using, at least for now, some face wash cloths that I had from Olay. I thought, did I recently open a new box of them? And I did. And I just thought maybe I'm like scrubbing too hard. There's another thing that I know I'm guilty of, is getting a little too like, you know, rough with the eye area probably as I remove makeup. And so I thought, not only am I going to be less rough, I'm not going to use that at all. And I'm using my e.l.f. Holy Hydration Cleansing Balm, actually, to remove makeup. That really keeps you hydrated. And I've used those Olay cloths for years. It's probably not their fault, but I may have used them in a way that irritated my skin. So this is a very kind to your skin makeup routine, I feel. So this is definitely a day where I would avoid the lower lash mascara at all costs. See, I can build up some nice lashes with this. My eyes are like, it's all on you, mascara, get it done. Okay, so on my lips, I've been using my balm.coms a lot, primarily my Swiss Miss. This stuff, I talked about it before, it's so good. So good, that chocolatey scent, and it does give you a tint of color. And in the spirit of peppermint mocha, you guys, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And this is really gentle. Like, I have some dryness on my lips too, but this feels really good. I take a little bit also of my mint. There aren't a lot of times when I feel like a genius, but the mint and the Swiss Miss. Glossier, are you listening? And they have flavor too, so it's like taking me back to the days of like flavored lip balm and beautiful scented lip balms. Those two together are so good. Glossier, it's not too late for a little winter collab, okay? I can't say how great those are together, and soothing and cushiony on the lips, but I still come in with a little lip liner. This is in Wine, and it actually looks really pretty paired with this blush on the cheeks, I felt. So Revlon Color Stay, and I'm not getting the fullest staying power benefit out of it since I've got all this balm on, but it still like tints my color and it feels really lightweight. Uh-oh, way outside the lines. Slipping and sliding. But see this finished lip? Look at the finish, actually. Look how it's not exactly shiny. But oh, if you could feel that moisture that I have on there right now. It's so good. I want just a little more brightening of the eye. Just in one certain area here, just right in here on the inner lid. I'm just taking a couple of those shades. Is it light? Yes. Do I look probably more radiant than ever just because the surface of my skin, you know, it feels dewy. It feels really fresh. It's feeling very nourished as a result of this makeup routine. So my friends, I just wanted to throw that out there to you. If you need a little makeup routine that's kind to your dry skin or skin with dry patches, maybe give some of these products a shot. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon. I love you. Bye.